Hey, hello, how's it going? All right, it has been a minute, but I'm back. Okay, so today I'm going to be doing something slightly different. Um, First off, I mean, when do I ever stream in the mornings, right? Or early afternoon? So that's already different for me today. Um, but welcome. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with me this morning. So, okay, I've got in front of me paper this morning. So this is my notebook that I practice in, that I do my ideas in, things like that. As you might see in the description, one of my kind of new favorite things to do is just go dollar store and just hunt for something to paint, right? I love doing useful things, right? I think I've said that like a gazillion times. Pardon me if you've heard it all before. um, but I really, really do like painting things that are useful. And one of the things that I spotted when I was at the dollar store a little while ago, so this is a large saucer here. I have a little grid drawn out. I don't know if I'm going to use this particular one, but that's sort of what I wanted to do. I wanted to sort of put my design off to the side. Okay. And then I found the soup mug, right? So it is large. It's not very heavy, but I did like this one. Now, to be honest, I keep finding gray things. It's not intentional. I'm not looking for them. It's not like my favorite color or anything like that. It just so happens to be what I found that they had a set of, I should say. So I'm going to lay out my design for that today. I've actually, like I said, I've got here in front of me just my, this is just a multimedia sketchbook. And this is sort of where I put everything together. This is the color palette that I've chosen. So as you can see, I've got, this is deep burgundy. I've got a like a mauve color here, and then I've got a lighter gray. This lighter gray, I'm hoping will look nice on this darker gray. So I'll have the two tones of gray, and then the burgundy and mauve on there. So I think that'll look good. Then I may also incorporate something like this one, like the white pearl. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see what I want to do at the end. But today I just kind of want to experiment. So my thought process, this is usually what I do, right? Unless it's a large project, right? It's not going to fit on here. So I have laid out a grid. I initially laid this out first. So the spacing between this is kind of just off. It's not like, for example, a 1 and a 1.5 with my compass. I just kind of did sort of what I thought would look nice. I actually started on the mug, right? Just so I could kind of get a size gauge. And then I took these measurements and put them here. Now, usually what I'll do, so again, I have at the top soup mug, I have my 3 colors. I'll probably find a paint color that kind of matches or is pretty close to the mugs themselves and add that up here too, just so I have, you know, what it's going to look like. I'll go ahead and do this. And then down here, you can see I have this split. As I'm doing this, I'm going to be writing down what I'm doing. So I have a nice little guide for myself. I do use the Happy Dotting Company tools. Those are off over here. I've got my coffee. Yeah, I like a little bit of coffee with my cream, so no judging. Cinnamon and honey. All right, so got my coffee, got that. I better move my coffee a little further, actually. And then get my palette over here. I gotta scooch some things in. I feel like I'm all squished in today. I really, really do. Let me put these up here and put my palette down here, and let's get some things filled. All right, so one of the things that I've already been thinking about the center, and I think I want to reuse a design that I had done where did I actually do this? Oh, this is one of my canvases. Okay, I had to stop and think. So I have a canvas, and I have some, for lack of a better term, they're upside down swooshes on it in the middle, so that the tips point out instead of in, right? Upside down, I guess. So that's what I want to try. I know that this gray is not ideal for the paper, but again, keep in mind that I've got a nice dark gray palette that I'm going to be working with. So let's just get to playing around. I selected my tools up to an 8 because of the size of the saucer and the mug. I don't think that I'm going to be able to get much larger on that. So that's where I'm going to start. All right. You know what? Let's go dark, because I think it's always going to be nice to do the dark colors in the center. And then if I do an even number, tool, with a 2. Yeah, I am way squished in here today. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to put my tools out of view over here, maybe. Okay. Let's do a 2. And we'll just kind of see how this goes. My thought process too, with the 2 outer rings here, is going to give me an idea of where I want to put the tips of the outward facing swooshes. And yeah, I opened up my book, and then I see all this stuff on the edge, my page here. I don't know what happened, but again, I'm just kind of drafting some stuff out. Okay. All right. So now, before I forget what I've done, so that's essentially how I work it. I know that I'm going to be starting from the middle outward, so I'm going to start just writing down the tool sizes. And then if I get to a point where I'm going to start deviating a little bit, or I could go a different direction when I'm actually painting my project, you know, versus just being very simple, you know, row by row by row, right? If I put a spacer dot in or something, then I might note that. So let's go, let's see, maybe, is a 6 gonna, I think the 6 would be just fine. What I'm looking for is I'm kind of just measuring, kind of eyeballing the space that's going to be left in between here. Because when I do the swoosh, I'm going to have some kind of curled swooshes that go along the sides of them. And I want enough room in the middle to make sure I can do maybe about 3 of them, I guess. So, and I know this is, yeah, I think a 6 is going to be just fine. All right, and I need my little swoosh tool here. Now the outer swooshes, let me think here, because they're going to be pretty prominent and I don't want them to fade into the background. I don't want them to be the gray. So I'm going to repeat the burgundy. Okay, so let's see what the size looks like here. So, going here. This is my initial thought. I might need to go out just a little farther though. Yeah. Yep. Again, this is on paper. This is essentially just practice. So yeah, I am not worried about, for example, the swooshes. I am touching the paper. I am dragging the paint. I'm not doing this in the same way that I would on my actual mug and saucer set, right? So you're going to see the marks here and things like that, because especially with it being paper, I'm not going to drench it in paint. This is the multimedia book, so I'm not worried about it seeping through. I've never had a problem with that, but this is just ideas. So I don't want someone to come in and be like, dude, that's awful. Okay, so we decided that if I bring the point just up over the first ring, that gives me enough length here. And I just barely have enough room in between the dots at the bottom. I'm thinking though, if maybe I would prefer a little more room. It'll make more sense what I'm talking about when I get to the next step here. Take a drink, 1 second. My coffee's good, but it's already cold. I made it and sat down and then started getting the stream set up. Probably should have put it in my coffee mug, my little thermos mug that I have. That would have been so much better. I feel like anytime anyone is painting, they have to have something with them, coffee or tea or something. They're just comfort drinks, right? All right. So I got my little star pattern here. Okay. Let me get my tools wiped off, and then I'm gonna drop down my size on my page. Okay, so that's a 6. SW swoosh. Not that I really need that, but it's there. So you did a 6. Typically what I would do is go down half a tool size. How do I explain that? Not half. A 3, right? These are a 6. I would do a 3. Let's see. It's not going to leave me a bunch of room, but I think it'll still be okay. So this will take me a minute to do. Feel free to say hi. What are you guys up to this weekend? Like I said, it's, for me, it's not early morning. I mean, but I just never stream now. This is not stream time for me usually. How do I want to do this? Okay, I'm thinking about colors. Okay, because I'm going to be putting 2, I don't think I'm going to be able to fit 3, but I'm going to put 2 swooshes in here, so they are going to come together right in the middle. So what color do I want to be prominent in the middle? Do I want that to be the mauve, or do I want that to be the gray? And I'm thinking that's going to be the mauve, because if I put the gray, the 2 lighter grays, again, same thing with the middle, I don't want it to wash out too much. So I think my lighter gray is going to be really more of an accent. Okay. Pardon me. So let's, where do I want to start? Let's start here. Okay. Okay. Don't like that. So what's happening here that I don't like is like on this one, there's no room here. So it does kind of force me to touch the two swooshes at the bottom. You don't have to go all the way down, but for this to look nice, I like doing it like this and see it pull it all the way around the bottom of the swoosh like that. So that it really has more of an S shape, more than this kind of odd heart thing that's going on here, if that makes sense. See, like this one, if you look here, see now how this curves around the bottom, and it reminds me of like having a brain fart of the name of the instrument with the strings. But that's the look I'm going for. This, not this. So that means two things. I'm gonna have to drop the size of my outward swooshes. So I'm gonna write that down once I get through here. This 3 size that I'm using here looks good for the size of the swooshes. So in comparison there, so I will keep up that methodology, right? So I'm going to use whatever size I pick. Whoops, that one didn't come out very nice either. That's okay. Again, practice. Half of whatever size it is that I've chosen for those swooshes. Okay. I'm kind of just really quickly roughing this in now. Oops. My little swoosh tool is full. That's why it's doing that. My lines aren't sharp. Okay, so we get an idea here. All right, let's wipe that off. So let's write down so that I did a 3. So I need, let me get this paper real quick. Okay. So again, 6 SW swoosh. Initially, when I do paint this, I'm making a note to myself to make that smaller to avoid these two touching. And so I've marked my 3 half to say this should be half of whatever this is. Okay, because now the other thing that I wanted to do is get another one in here. Normally this would then be a 2, and I'll show you what I wanted to do with that. See, and then I would have a second set here. See, and again, I'm forced to touch the two in the middle because I don't have anywhere to go with these. Initially, I was thinking, yep, that'll look nice. I have these kind of touching, but then I sort of forgot I haven't done this particular pattern in a while, that I like it to go all the way around. I mean, if somebody's watching, tell me what you think. For example, of these mauve ones, especially, right? Because I would normally want them to draw all the way around this, right? But right now, this is as far as I can go. So the second one here is just making this little heart shape. Whoops, that's awful. Since I'm just sketching this out, I feel like I'm getting really lazy. It's been a minute, I'll be honest. I took a break in December. I had my show in November. Took a while to kind of get myself calmed down from the show, because they're like in, Jesus, I don't know, August to November, August to the end of October. I feel like that is all I did. I just, every night, just painting and getting stuff ready and getting stock in. And so with all that built up energy, I kept at it, right? I kept shopping and I kept finding things and I kept ideas pouring, and I just kind of overwhelmed myself. So I took a break over Christmas, and then that just kept going. So I have not done a whole lot recently at all. So I still feel like I'm just getting back into the swing of things. Okay, but anyways, as I was saying, if you like this, if you like the way that that kind of touches, let me know. I mean, not everything that I do should be for myself or just because I like it. I need to think about other people. So it's always nice to have feedback then, you know, instead of just painting something and sitting it in my shop or taking it to a craft fair and then it not sell, you know, it just actually sit there. So, I mean, if people don't tell you what they like or what they don't like, that's really the only other way to do it, right? Is just see what sells and what doesn't. And sometimes that feels pretty awful. You make something and you think it's great, and then it just sits there. All right, let's see. So now I've got the center. I mean, the color combination I'm liking. Now I probably want to get back to something larger again. Let's go back to the 6. And since we've done these swooshes in the burgundy, let's go to, let's see, how about out there? Oh, I gotta note that as I go through. Okay. Oh, what do I want to do now? Let's see. And suggestions are always welcome. Somebody's sitting there with an idea. 3. I normally wouldn't do that, but that's okay. 2. And then we got a space, and we're gonna go to a 6. And how about we do some walks? Let's see. Now let's go 2. I have a plan for something in the middle, perhaps, if it'll fit. So even though I'd like to go with 3 with the top dot, I think I'm going to stick with the 2 so I have enough room. So once I do this, I'll go ahead and pop in front of the camera again my planned project that this is actually going to go on. I feel like if anyone is kind of dropping in and they're like, hey, wait a second. So I've got the large mug that's going to go on. So those colors. I'm actually going to do that double-sided, I think. And then I'll have the saucer as well and have that is the pattern that I'm doing off to the side. Okay, so now I've got a 1.5. So let's see. I'm going to go up a little bit instead of just to a 3. Oh, let me hold on. Let me write that down. Okay. Okay, 3.5. Yeah, I think this gray will be okay. I think it's going to be light enough that it shows up on my darker saucer and cup mug. It's kind of awful on the white background, but Could certainly go larger with the ones underneath. Because I do want this nice thick 3 that I'm doing on the outside, but as I'm looking at it, the proportions, I don't know if I like the drop in size to be that dramatic underneath. So the burgundy ones, I think I'm going to make a note to make those larger. Have to kind of be mindful though. Let me take a look. Because obviously I'm putting this on a small project. This is not going on a large canvas or something, so I still want to make sure that it looks okay and it's not going to like fall off the edge of the saucer or the cup either. So if you're asking why I did these in 2 sets, so I did 3 dots with the 3 and then I'm on the 1.5, that's essentially just to make sure that it looks more consistent. The dots are a little fuller as I drop them down. Because I use the flat tools, I personally don't find that anything a 3 and above does walked dots very well. And so I split it. And that was a 3. Wipe that off a bit. Okay. The other thing that I'm seeing too at the bottom, let me wipe this off and then I can actually show you what I'm thinking here. Okay. So I have these here, right? And then I have this space here, right? So what I can do, let's see, let's play around with 2 different ideas here. So either, let's find 2 good ones that I can use to experiment here. Oops. Need a larger size. Okay, so I can either, no, that's not really that great. Okay. Okay, so that's option 1, that it either goes all the way around, or 2, I can take and make 2.5 maybe. Let's see. A landing dot. Not sure which one I like better. you have an opinion, let me know. Again, so I'm leaning to this one, right? Number one, to where it has a landing dot, and then I'll just make sure to bring this down an extra dot, which will actually work because I'm going to make this one larger. Okay, and bring it down to the dot. Or I can leave a space and then just have this kind of hover. Okay, so that would be a 3, and then let me put in number 1, number 2. What did I use for my landing? I think that was okay. Is that a 4? 3, 5, 4. Okay. Now I have my 2 options, what I want to do there. So then let's get back to what we want in the middle. In the middle, I probably want to have probably some swooshes that go in between it. Let me see where we are for size. I think I can go all the way out to about there. Yeah, okay. I'm fine. Fine with that. Okay. Or probably work. Okay. Let's try something a little backwards from the way I normally think about doing this. Stopping and thinking about the colors again, because I really like the contrast of the dark burgundy against the gray instead of it like this with the mauve against the gray. But then I have to think about what my main color here is going to be. Do I want that, the dusty mauve, or the dark? And I think I want that, the dark, to match. Well, if I do that, then this is, here's my thought. Kind of doing partial thoughts here. Okay, so what I want to do is put some swooshes here, right, along these edges, and bring this together, right, a couple of them, so that I have a nice full set of swooshes in here. Okay, I'll probably do one here, one here, one here in the center for sure, and then depending if I have enough room, another one in the middle. So I'll have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I was thinking about doing mauve, gray, burgundy, but if I do that, then I have this burgundy touching this burgundy, both going out throughout the lines, and that's where I'm stopping. I don't think I want to do that. I usually don't do that. I usually don't continue this dark color all the way down and across, right? I would spread it out and put it here and then put mauve here, right? So it breaks it up a little bit. So let's do it that way. So I need, so this, if this is a 4, it's gonna have to be, if I want that many swooshes in there, it's gonna have to be a 3. So let's do the dark. Try to find a good angle for my hand here. The other thing that I could do is carry this type of swoosh up here. I don't know if I'm convinced about doing that though. Gosh, paper. No. And again, this is just my sketchbook, so I'm not worried about any of these scratch marks and things like that. The amount of paint that I'm using right now too, which you can see obviously isn't enough. See, like here, it's not enough for me to go all the way around. When I do this on the mug, that's going to be more than plenty. It's just that it's so porous and soaks in. And just want to make sure that I give myself enough of an idea of what I'm gonna do here. Oops. There's something on the feet underneath. Ooh. So this is a 3, right? Ah, okay. I need to write it down. Make sure I don't forget. There we go. Last night when I was thinking about streaming or recording today, I was all set to just jump right into the project. And you know, I'm really glad I didn't. Like I said, I feel like this is a warm-up after being inactive for so long. Get my head around it again. Give myself a little leeway to be a little messy. So this is the way I do it, right? I've been using a sketchbook for a very long time, probably since I first began. I think probably my first 2 or 3 practice pieces were just on like scratch paper, or a lot of times I would actually just steal my daughter's construction paper. For whatever reason, she never really liked using the black construction paper, which is fine for me because I would just snatch it from her. Or brown. As you can see, I still have this stuff from a long time ago for construction paper. But at some point, I gravitated towards the sketchbook like this. And then once I found that you don't have to have, I guess that was my biggest hesitation in the beginning, was because the sketchbooks, you know, when you buy them, they all talk about, you know, they're good for pen work and things like that. They don't talk about paint. I don't think I've ever encountered just a normal sketchbook that talked about using water-based acrylic paints. But it works perfectly and it doesn't bleed through. So since then, it's just been my go-to. And plus, if I ever decide again that I want to make the same pattern, I have everything just like this written down. It's kind of fun too every now and again to go back through the sketchbooks and just kind of see your progress. You know, what was I working on? What was I doing? Oh wow, I can't believe I did that, you know? All right, let's get this last one sketched in here. Then what do I want to put? I need another row of these, but I'm already thinking about what I want on the top. Oops, I completely drug that over. That's okay. Oh goodness, for sketch practice. Okay. All right, so let's do them all. I'm gonna stay with the 3. Yep. All right. And again, good morning to anyone who is stopping by. Well, afternoon. What time is it? No, for me, it's almost 11. So I guess it's okay to say good afternoon. That one's much higher. Okay, I'll have to think about where I want that. Okay, so let's take a look here. So all of these burgundy colored, I put right up against the second dot. And then I'm thinking, okay, well, let's just put this one underneath. But when I did that, see, this one is much higher than this one. So I just have to pay more attention. Let me flip this to the other side. How do I want to do that? When I do it on the project, what I could consider is not looking at the second dot of the walk, but instead just taking a central point. What I could do then, even just to make sure, because it's going to be a rounded surface, is consider putting another line here. Right, I'll measure that once I'm done here. And then I can take my compass on my project and draw another circle. So like here, there would be a line so that I can just grab that line. I know that makes sense. I'm not explaining it very well. I guess my coffee's just not kicking in. These are so thick. I'm still having fun. Yeah. Yep, definitely. That's better. Okay. So I'm going to have to measure that out. I feel like on paper, doing these swishes and using the tools, it's much more pencil-like. Okay. Just let those fall off at the bottom there. On the project, they will be nice, pretty points. To do that, instead of constantly just letting the tool go back into every single swoosh clean, and clean it in between every one of them, and then I'll get a nice sharp point on the final product. Ooh, those are close together. So yeah, somewhere in here, I got a little bit off. I have one or two of these that are a little far apart. The walk dots. These little petals. Because now I've got a couple that are really close together. So, see the space here? There's like almost no space. And then over here, I have a nice spot. So, again, just another one of those little lazy things. All right, so it's a 3 and a 3. Okay. So my plan then here is to make these a little larger, which is going to push these out a little more. So it is very possible that all of my swishes might look closer to this and be much closer together than this. Okay, so I'm just going to go with the idea that this is what I'm working with. So do I want to, let's see. I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave it because what I was thinking is maybe I could experiment with a little bit of a line here. But in the end, I'm not 100% as to if I'm going to have even that much room or more. If I have more, then I will go ahead and just gauge the space in between. I'll come in with the tool and kind of look, okay, well, yeah, that'll fit. Yeah, okay, and then draw my swoosh. For now though, let's get something up here. Let's do, how about we just do a crown? It's gonna be too big. Yep, and all of these little things that I'm changing, I wouldn't have had an opportunity to had I just slapped this on my mug. Certain things I'd be able to change, of course. Just wipe it off while it's wet, but yeah. That's a 4, and then let's go larger on the top. Oops. That was kind of crooked, huh? Ooh, bless you. That's my dog. He's hanging out behind me. I'm not sure what that was. I don't know if he just coughed or sneezed or hacked or something. He's giving me a look. Okay. Let's see. All right. This is pretty much going to take me as far as I can go because this edge is going to be more or less the edge of my mug. I don't have all that much room. With my mug, I'm only going to be able to put this much on there, right? It's going to start at the halfway mark. So this is what's going to be on the mug. I will have the full thing, or just about the full, I guess. It might cut off somewhere down here on the saucer. So the only other thing that I want to do is put something on the edges that's the dark burgundy. Let's see. Let's see. Probably something small. Of course I can do, you know, just like a dot. I could do a very tiny walk around. Oh, I know. Let's try something. It's 1. My paint is already starting to dry in my palette. That's nuts. Whoops. Gosh. Yep. That's awful. It's like lumpy. And then we have a gap here. Let's see. All right. And you know what? Let's see. Okay, so I realized just now that, you know what, I probably been on mute for a while because I actually I put myself on mute for a second because I had to clear my throat, and then I don't think I ever. Oh, that is too funny. Okay, so I'm going to repeat what I said. All right, so I apologize. You were seeing me here like all like point, 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 and you had no idea what's going on, right? I'm so sorry. So what's going on? I changed this a little bit. I have decided that I made this note here. I crossed off the 1.5 top swoosh because this right here, I'm going to get rid of it, right? I decided I don't like it, okay? And instead of doing the gray crown, I'm going to do 2 colors, right? So I'm going to do this maybe in gray still, but then I might change the top dot to either the mauve color or the burgundy instead, okay? And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to change this 1 dot to 2 dots so that this goes farther around, right? Because I just take the 1 dip and let it go as far as it goes, and that's that. So I think that'll make that go around farther. And then I circled the number 1 around because, see, I marked this number 1 and I marked this number 2. So this is where these dots go all the way around, right? And this one, they stop here at a landing dot. And looking at the full pattern, I like this better because you leave this space in between, and I like that space. Yeah. So I'm going to cap this with a crown. For me, a crown, if you hear me say the word crown, this is a crown, right? 2 dots and 1 on top. This little triangle here, this is a crown. So I'm going to turn this 1 dot into a crown. Okay. And then I'm going to leave this crown the way it is, but I'm going to remove this top because, like I was saying, and nobody could hear me. Gosh, I'm so sorry. That was stupid. So when I do these swooshes along the top here, it really softens the top and it makes things round, right? If I leave that off, then it's triangular, right? Then it's more pointed, and I like the more pointed. And matter of fact, you know, even looking at that profile here, so if you make a triangle right here, right? So at the edges of this coming up, if I do that, I can see that, see, for example, if I'm drawing this over and over, you can see that these dots here, these 4, would be outside, right? So what I could do is even make these smaller, right? So it fits better in this triangle so that I mimic this here, right? Because I have these really strong triangles. So I can mimic that here by making these smaller. So I did a 4-5 crown smaller, right? Okay. And then I decided that I definitely do not want this, right? No top dots here. I do like having this really nice dark color, and I don't want to disrupt that. So I'm not going to put a top dot here. I like the top dots here, and I'm probably going to put them here. That's almost a given that I'll put them there. I don't know where else I'm going to do a top dot, but then again, we're going to smoosh this a little bit. I'm going to make these, maybe I'm going to make these a touch smaller so that I don't have this right where everything is touching. The gray touches, the mauve touches, right? I don't have any room in between. Unless somebody yells and says, hey, no, I like it like this. Let me know, but otherwise I'm gonna make them smaller. And then that's it. Okay, so like I said, I hope somebody is helped by this. I hope somebody takes a little bit of inspiration off this. I hope you like kind of seeing my thought process, you know, how I'm looking at things, why I'm making the decisions that I'm making, you know, how I adjust things as I'm going through, right? I would love to hear how you guys set this up. I know not everybody's got this crazy method that I do, but I'm sure that you guys have something equally as amazing. So I'd love to hear that. I'd love to hear how you guys are setting things up. I I know a lot of times I just jump into a project and I really shouldn't. I really shouldn't. I really should be doing it this way, but sometimes I just get a little impatient because a lot of times, I mean, I'm a busy person, right? I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I work 40 hours a week. I have a normal, 9 to 5. I have a daughter whom we homeschool, and my home is more or less being turned into a homestead, right? So I've got a lot on my plate most days, and I don't get a chance to paint. My painting mostly takes place after my daughter goes to bed, so we're talking like 10 p.m. And 10 p.m. comes around, and a lot of times I'm just shot, right? I don't want to deal with anything. And painting, although dot art is, my meditative space, sometimes I'm even just too tired and too wiped to do that even. And so sometimes, I'll come in and just like with these projects, I was absolutely ready just to come in today and sit down and start them, just with kind of a general idea and then just sit down and do it. And I'm glad I didn't, because the plan that I had in my head, obviously look at all the changes that I've made. Almost half of this is going to be changed just a little bit. You'll still see this. But I've made a lot of changes. And if I had just put those on my cup and saucer, then I wouldn't have been happy at the end. And there's a big possibility that, because when I'm not happy with something and I start to see something going the wrong direction, I start to get sloppy, right? I start not to care as much, and I get a little sloppy, and then it gets worse, and it's awful. So, I think one of my New Year's resolutions is going to be to make sure that I'm utilizing this more. And please, please, please let me know if you like it when I do this, because I will be happy to just come in and do a live session brainstorm and walk you through my process and my sizes and my ideas before I record my project, right? So then I can have the live draft and a recorded project. Okay, so you guys can see kind of the final as well. So I think that would be fantastic. I think that's a great New Year's resolution for myself, to make sure that I slow down and I continue to plan things out. So, all right. Again, thank you anyone who has stopped by. If you have made it this far, please do consider subscribing. If you've made it this far, I certainly hope that you do enjoy the content and you'd like to see more. So subscribe, drop me a comment. Like I said, let me know what you guys do. Let me know what you think. As I go through these, I have my own thought process, but I am always, always open to comments and questions and suggestions. If somebody says, hey, you know what? I heard you say that you don't like this particular pattern, but you know what? I love it. Or, hey, that color combination, why don't you add XYZ color to that? Or why don't you do this or that? I'm totally fine with that. I like to get into other people's thought process as well. Like I said, if I make something and I intend to sell it, how in the world am I ever going to sell anything if it's just me and my thoughts and what I like, right? So, okay. On the screen on the bottom right for these live sessions, you will actually see my Ko-fi link over to my shop. If you ever feel so inclined to drop a donation, that helps me buy paint, buy supplies, keep fueling my passion, which is greatly appreciated with my small business here. If there is anybody dropping by that sees anything that I have made, I do make an attempt, unless I actually adore something and I want to keep it or I've made it for a gift. Everything that you see me making, I have put up for sale. So if you want a gift, I'm actually going also very, very quickly here. I am going to be putting up a PDF for sale, a very, very in-depth instruction guide on how to do glass paint. So check it out. Check it out. I certainly do appreciate it. Any of those things that you do to support me are so appreciated. So, so appreciated. Thank you guys ever so much for dropping by. I will catch you again later. Next time I see you, I will be working on this project and getting this design on my mugs. All right, take care, guys. Have a fantastic weekend, and I'll catch you again later. Bye-bye.